mass, but it just joined the landmass of the Ottoman Empire, and then they would initially protect the coffee beans by either slightly roasting it or letting it sprout a bit so people wouldn't be able to grow the coffee beans. But eventually we know the coffee moved from there to India and to other parts of the world. So this is a very innocent picture from an entrance of a village where you see a mortar. It was exclusively used at the time to use a method of grinding the coffee. Again, Bria Savarin in his book, he tested both methods, whether you would use a mill or you would use, you beat them in a mortar in the Turkish fashion, which one produces the better coffee. But I don't think there is a particular preferred method. In the way they enjoy it at homes, they have these hand mills. And in my case, actually, I remember fondly that the grandmothers of the house would give you the youngest kid sort of to mill it, and then for a day or a half your hand will smell of the metal and you feel like you've achieved something and you made your grandmother a very happy woman. Probably that was the only case when a man made a woman happy in his life. Now, of course, the ground is, you can see that next to espresso, there's a Turkish section if you go to a shop to buy your coffee, so it's the finest as you can get, because the Turkish coffee method, this is not going to be in a test, so you don't have to memorize it, but the finely powdered roast coffee beans are boiled in a pot. In this case, and recently, it's the jezve, not the sort of a large pitcher. With, depending on the taste, they add some sugar, and the grounds would settle. That's why you enjoy the coffee, and you already did that. So, the unique shape, of course, the importance of the jezve, as you see, the sides are getting sort of narrow and collecting up as this carbonation forms the foam of the crema. This utilizes it in the best fashion, so it's kind of an industrial design by the people. They found the ideal form to make coffee, which was a replacement to the pitcher. And again, in the old traditional set, you see you have a pitcher in there, what's called ibriki. Now, this is the Ottoman Turks had their own trinity. In this case, to clean the palate before you drink the coffee, you must enjoy some water, so your taste buds are ready and waiting for the sort of the onslaught of the coffee taste, and you can sometimes finish it with a Turkish delight. Now, there are some lessons, because when the Ottomans, they felt like in many other countries, that they cannot ban the coffee houses, they started taxing them, and then they organized a farm union of roasters. So the roasters were all on the same street, and in one of these streets, almost 150 years ago, a company started roasting and grinding beans, coffee beans. Up until that time, you had to buy them either green or roasted, and you mill them and enjoy them at home. So the first thing Kuru Kahveci Mehmet Efendi did was create a method that you can buy a finished product. So it's a very customer-focused idea. Not only that, this novel idea of you can buy your coffee ready to enjoy made him a very rich man. So he became a pilgrim. So he was kind of a quasi-holy man. And then he was really scared, because he felt like, what if my salespeople would short sell people, not weigh enough coffee? So as now a pilgrim, he didn't want to end up in the wrong side of where. So he asked his salesman, after they weigh perfectly, to add a little bit more coffee, so there's no mistake about it. And this sort of giving a little bit more to your customer became the rage in town, and more people started buying coffee from his shop, because you can get just a little bit more at Mehmet Efendi's shop. The other thing happened, that as he became a rich man, one day he was visited by two people who asked one of his properties to buy. And then he responded saying, I have no intention of selling you anything. And then he got curious and he said, what are you going to do with it? These people belonged to the Jewish rabbinate of Istanbul, and they wanted to establish a house of prayer in that location. After their expulsion from Spain and Portugal, a lot of the Jews ended up in the Ottoman Empire in various parts of it, like Salonika and also in Constantinopolis. And because it's part of the Ottoman policy of accommodation or istimalat, that they would open their lands because they see that more people would bring more financial wealth to them. So after hearing this, and again, because the rules of the Omar, it was not possible in a Muslim country, other religions to build new houses of prayers or add to them. They could only repair them. But Ottoman always turned a blind eye. They allowed a lot of these churches and synagogues to be built. So, and he got curious, and once he realized that they would be building a synagogue on this particular land, he said, well, if it's for the God, I'm not going to sell this to you, because I said I'm not going to sell this to you, I'm not going to go back on this, but I'm going to give this land to you free. So at that Saturday, in all the synagogues of Istanbul, the rabbi said, from now on you should buy your coffee from Mehmed Efendi. So it's another way of trying to understand the nature of your clientele, and outreach to other segments of the society is, again, part of his business success. And in the second and third generation, today the fourth generation is selling this coffee. They introduce this, for example, architectural design, which is sort of kind of Art Deco-y. And then with the introduction of the trucks, they suddenly felt like people should not only come to their main store, that they can package it and sell it, around